Morning, Tinfoil. There's your speaker.
Okay, let me try that again. Can you hear me now?
There it is. Yep.
I can't hear you.
Yep. I can hear you just fine.
Okay, how about now?
I can hear you, Tim. Can you hear me?
Yes. I think it was my Bluetooth acting up.
Exciting. You got a new setup going, testing it out, something like that.
Yeah, I'm using my Rodecaster 2 Plus with a Shure mic, and I've been kind of using it as my main communication through work and stuff. And uh, really don't want to stay on the space, but let's just say that if things get dicey, I have a way to document things at work.
Right.
I'm
Well,
just,
did you have a good weekend? By the way.
yeah, I just didn't want to come back to work today.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Nobody wants to go to work, especially on a Monday. Well, it's probably going to take a minute for others to jump in. I know Monday mornings, we might have to just skip Mondays altogether.
I hear you. Got this cool little vacuum blower thingy for my keyboard. Works really well. My keyboards look cleanest as ever has been for a while now. So I'm like, yay.
Nice. Yeah, I gotta clean up my office for sure.
That's gonna be my next project is try to get much junk out of here as I can. And I think I finally choose the color for my office. I've lived here for almost 10 years and never could decide what color I want, but I think I know which one I'm going to do now. It's called the Carnival, but it's like a bright orange almost.
Well, that'll wake you up or keep you awake, at least in the office, right?
Yeah, and I saw a friend use it for one of their bedrooms, and it looks like kind of like warm, inviting, and cheerful. So I was like, yeah, I'll go with that.
Work. Well, um, we had some profile in here that I didn't recognize and walked out. So, yippee. And good morning. I'm assuming that's Mrs. Marlin with the profile.
Hello.
Well, of course, Marlin can't make it today. He's working in not so good an area, so we'll see how how long this space lasts if people make it.
I know I've been digging more into the data center stuff here over here locally. Ours just opened for Meta. I'm impressive, honestly. I know one thing. If I was working there, I had to have a golf cart just to get around. That's so big.
Wow, that's yeah. I don't know if you've ever visited the whole Google facility out there in Silicon Valley, but it's pretty huge.
But I think you would laugh at me though. If I got a golf cart, I'll be putting some light bars on it, like the police drive around, all fancy.
Throw 50 cal on there.
Uh, yeah, why not? That'd be funny. And a train horde.
All right. I was looking the other day. They have this little fully automatic grenade launcher for your home setup. I was like, gotta have one of those.
Oh wow. Talk about explosive home security.
Yeah, that'll do the trick. Well, it's definitely a slow start this morning.
Yeah, usually people start piling in at this point.
Yeah, I know that the suppression thing is getting more and more real. The more that I do this thing, like Marlon always gets suppressed, and so I think it's starting to work on me too. You know.
Ew, I hate that. I know how that feels. Hey, Terry.
Oh, yep. All right. At least Terry made it. Or at least he could see it. That's a good sign, I guess.
Okay, I'm gonna say it. Klingon mock talk judge. There, got the Klingon on the way.
There we go. We got Klingon out of the way. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning in Klingon. I don't even know how to say good morning in Klingon.
Actually, I'll have to look it up. I'm not sure how to say it myself yet.
The fact that you can look it up and have a Klingon dictionary is amazing. Anything exciting happened over the weekend for you, Terry, or Tim?
For me, no. Just the usual weekend. Nothing out of the ordinary. Otherwise, I would just be making stuff up.
Right. Well, I'm trying to figure out if I missed anything over the weekend, since I don't really pay attention or watch news or have a TV and all that crap. But I do know that our state, Tennessee, we're celebrating our 230 years of statehood today. So yippee.
Tennessee's a great state.
Yes, it is. The good old South.
So apparently they don't have a word for good day, but this one is close. Kill block dodge a bomb, which means that today is a good day to die. And it's about the equivalent of hello to them.
Well, Tinfoil, I'm really shocked that a Klingon doesn't have good morning in their vocab. I mean, that they're always mad. They're always wanting, to conquer something. I'm just a little shocked.
Well, they are a warrior race.
So it was good. A good day. It's a good day to die. That's how you say good morning.
Pretty much.
This is classic, man. That's so funny. If Court knows how to speak Klingon, you're gonna have a new bestie. Good morning, Nicole.
Morning, man. Yeah, I was actually just coming up because I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but well, obviously CIA, obviously things are kind of getting released that they have known for a long time. What was really interesting is a lot of people, my spaces lately that have been coming in, have been saying that information is being released that the CIA has has known about pretty much like psychic abilities, telepathy. They have a patent, which is super crazy. I didn't know this even existed. Now, this is like way out of like our like kind of like our like I would say like our mindset. Like we wouldn't really think about these existing unless like we actually like really opened our mind to like the real reality of this world, right? So they're like releasing like multi-universes, right? Like we were talking about this, I think, in your space last time, because I think Tinfoil brought it up. And I was like, okay, this is weird. Well, the Stargate portals, right? That's how they come in and out. These like interdimensional beings, right? So that's how they pop in and pop out, which is the reason why Project Stargate got mentioned recently by Trump, right? I think we're going to be in for a very interesting ride. I think it's going to change a lot of things for us. The CIA documents that are coming out right now are obviously revealing that we're way, way, way more advanced than what they're telling us. And with the U.S. military, like we were talking about, we were talking about last time in the space, like keeping it national security, like don't talk about it. I have a feeling that these people who have been practicing this occult with the dark magic, obviously the black magic that they use, there's somehow that if you're powered by Jesus, let's just say you tap into that source, you could probably do a lot of amazing things in the supernatural realm that we're dealing with today and fighting off demons. Like we know demons exist. We have that power. I think they just don't want us to know. But I'll land my plan on that, though. I'm just saying the CIA is coming out with a lot of interesting documents, and people are coming into my spaces and they're talking about it, and it's kind of mind blowing.
Well, just more stuff that gets thrown at us, more stuff to scurry about and not pay attention to all the evil going on, right?
Well, it's really crazy. It kind of did actually mention that they supposedly the super soldier program. This is, I've looked into the super soldier program, but I never really like understood like all of it, to be honest, because it's kind of pretty crazy stuff. But they were saying that supposedly the CIA has a patent where like people can walk through walls, and I was like, I don't know about this. Like this is crazy, crazy stuff. They also have a cloak, like a cloak thing. Like how in Harry Potter, like they put the cloak over and you go invisible, right? And you like disappear completely. So there's somehow where they have this technology where you can do the same exact thing, just put it over yourself, and then like you disappear, and like nobody sees you. And it's like if we literally live in the sci-fi world, like obviously, like Hollywood has no creativity, like at all. Like they have none. And I think we pay for what the knowledge that they know, and we can't grasp that, mindset. Like they're already into all that stuff. Like they see fallen angels, they see giants, they known about this stuff for forever, right? Because the thing is, like we all know that the US military came across giants over in the Middle East, and some of them actually survived and took the giant out, but some of them were killed. And like there's many stories out there about, us fighting, all kinds of stuff and our time frames, right? Like our ancestors going against these things too. So it's like if you just listen to your ancestors, you probably would know a lot of stuff.
Here we go. I knew Tin would jump in. Go ahead, Tin.
So one thing, I want my TARDIS. I gotta have that. But as for the Stargate program, I've actually heard rumors that our IP address system for our internet is actually loosely based off the address system of the Stargate. That's I always thought that was pretty cool. As for remote viewing, I've actually played around with it a little bit. Even scared a friend with it. That was funny, but the stuff does seem real. I was pretty accurate. I even got my friend who's never done it before. He was pretty accurate too, which was kind of amazing to watch. And but no, I think you're right. I think a lot of cool stuff is going to come out here really soon. I'm kind of excited. So saying that, I will say Sobi Yachu, which means engage cloaking device.
Of course.
Oh, that's cool.
Tinfoil. Good morning, Miss Nika. How you doing?
Good morning, Truth, Terry, everyone. Sorry, I just woke up a little bit ago, so bear with me this morning.
Good morning, Nika. We're talking about aliens, and you should probably have a cup of coffee.
Yep, we've already had a few Klingon sayings so far, so just getting you caught up there. I saw Mad Dog came up too. Good morning.
Morning, Truth. Hey, Tinfoil. I followed you. Maybe if I said Kapla, you'd give me a follow back.
Oh, Ken, you're getting new friends, buddy. Your Klingon is paying off.
Blah.
All right, Tinfoil. What if Star Trek and these other shows and all of these galactic races, nationalities, whatever you want to call them, what if they're really real and it's all just been a big psyop to get us ready? And when they do bring them out, there really will be Klingons and Vulcans. Does that pass muster?
Well, I will say this. Okay, I'm gonna nerd out. You'll see me wearing a Starfleet uniform when we greet them, and yeah, I'm. That would be really cool. I think that would be exciting.
And maybe William Shatner's really an alien, which is why he's 96 or 7, because he's been brought in to kind of.
They technically do say that, and this is just from understanding all this stuff that I've kind of looked into, but when Princess Diana, because like she's the first one that kind of said it out loud, she said they're not human, right? And so and that was she was talking about the royal family at the time, because obviously she stayed with them, right? So I don't know. I think personally, I think other species have been running our earth along with humans, and they're also in our government, but that's just my personal opinion.
Well, I just can't wait for the day to see Tim get in his uniform, go greeting everybody, speaking Klingon. What's up, my bros? It's gonna be awesome. Oh man, dude. So Tim, one of our favorite movies that we just crack up is Galaxy Quest. Man, I just think that's the greatest movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but I love that one.
I've got to admit, the character I can relate to the most in that movie is Brandon.
Yep, you're Brandon, that's for sure. Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, that movie cracks me up. He's like, miners, you idiot, not miners. Anyway, kind of. If you've never seen Galaxy Quest, it's worth watching. It's very funny. Just kind of yeah, if you're having a bad day, watch it. It's just making fun of technically Star Trek, but it's classic. Go ahead, Mad Dog.
Everybody, if you'd go down to the Purple Pill, like and share the space, I'm sure Truth would appreciate it.
Well, not really with what we're talking about, but thanks, Mad Dog. Appreciate that. Yeah. I never remember to say that stuff, and Miss Nika doesn't have her coffee yet, so thank you.
Right. Oh, yeah. We'll eventually get to politics. We just have to get the alien thing out of the way first,
Well, I mean, the politicians are using it definitely to steer people away from all the crap they're still doing, right?
Well,
Well, it seems.
oh,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, the one thing that, if you kind of follow along with our government, obviously, which you guys probably have in your past life, one thing that was really interesting that I watched was United Nations speeches. And dang, those things are kind of boring, no offense. They're kind of long too. But Ronald Reagan, that was a very interesting one, because he said, what would unite the world would be an alien invasion. And look what's happening now. So I don't get distracted by that stuff. I already know, the Bible talks about that in Ezekiel and stuff like that. But it's very interesting that Ronald Reagan did technically say that, and look what's happening now. And that was a United Nations speech back in, I think, the 80s or 70s or something like that.
Yes, Ronnie was from the 80s. We were alive. I take it you weren't at the
No,
time.
I wasn't. I actually learned about that later, just like I learned about the New World Order by George W. Bush Sr. when I was like, older too. So I didn't know about any of this stuff. It's kind of mind blowing.
Oh, yeah. The 80s were cool. So were the 70s. You can definitely learn a lot from us old timers in here.
The 90s.
And the 90s sucked. My wife said they were awesome. I can't, whatever.
I didn't know if you guys
The
watched
grunge.
it or not, because a lot of people that when I talk about it, like sometimes they don't even know it exists. And I'm like, how? I was like, do you guys ever watch the president's speeches when you were younger or older? Or do you forget things maybe? I'm just kind of curious because I brought it up to my mom and my mom was like, I don't remember him saying that. And I was like, did you ever watch it? And she's like, no. And I was like, that's probably why.
Well,
Well, so go ahead, Terry. Sorry.
no, it's true. If we were ever invaded by the aliens, it would definitely unite the world.
Now, if she's watched the speech from Reagan, she would recognize that that sounds like President Reagan. Did it sound familiar to you?
No, that's what I was
Or-
actually talking about. Yeah, it's exactly that. And then what's really funny is he's a Hollywood actor. That's what I thought was hilarious too.
Mhm. Yep, he played in the Gipper. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of old stuff that's coming up again. There's nothing new under the sun. You know, I highly recommend reading a book called Christianity and Liberalism, which was written in 1921. And you read it today and you think, wow, did they just write this year? I mean, it's so relevant, all the same crap. So, you know, just a different era. People seem to forget, like you're saying, a lot of kids don't know. They've never even heard of Reagan, you know, much less knew he was a president or an actor. So you're ahead of the curve, which is good.
Yeah, I just pay attention to like our life, right? I mean, honestly, in order to kind of learn what we went through as Americans, you have to kind of go back in the past. And I mean, all this stuff, I was younger. I mean, I remember 9/11, obviously. I remember like, stuff like that because that was like my lifetime. But I mean, the stuff that I didn't know, I unfortunately, the only way I can learn is if somebody tells me or if I go back and rewatch things. So I go back and rewatch a lot of presidential speeches from like Reagan, Nixon, to JFK, to everybody else pretty much, because that's how I learn. I learned from watching people, just like I learned how bad President Obama was just by watching him talk. So, yeah.
But it's refreshing. It's actually really nice to have someone, younger your age that takes the time and does that and understands and sees what they are. You'll start to blow your mind if you go back to FDR and see what a piece of crap communist he was, so.
I think one of my favorite was when Reagan was debating Mondale, and Reagan was substantially older, and he goes, I'm just paraphrasing, he goes,
Well, a lot's been said about the age difference between me and Mr. Mondale, but I promise I will not use his youth and inexperience against him. And just everybody lost it.
Yeah, he was definitely clever, man. He had a lot of great speeches, great sayings. He really was a great president, and his wife, Nancy, loved and adored him. She was so devoted to him. And if you ever get a chance out in California in Simi Valley, the Reagan Library, Reagan Museum it's pretty awesome. Definitely highly suggest going there.
How many libraries are there actually? I'm just kind of like, do you guys know that information? I'm just kind of curious because did every president get their own like library, or is it just certain ones that? Because I know that there's a lot of them out there. I never really went to those libraries. I'm kind of curious what's inside those things.
Well, a lot of it is, things that they kept from their time in the White House, awards that they got, treaties that they signed, those kind of things. But not every president has one. But I'm
Okay.
sure we can grok it and find out the exact answer for you.
Yeah, I can look it up too myself if you guys don't want to. That's totally fine. I was just kind of curious because, I mean, I find interesting too is the Library of Congress, which you can kind of go on like their website and you can look at like all kinds of like archives and information and stuff. And I don't know, I'm like one of those people, like like I said, I'll read any type of book if I can like, you know, comprehend it, obviously, if it's in English, obviously. Unless it's in a different language, then I probably have to Google like type in the words to figure out what they're saying. But other than that, it's just very, I don't know, I'm very intrigued by what America can offer because there's so many things here I think we can learn from. And I don't know if you guys have ever watched American Decoded. It's kind of like this show that always has been on since I was a kid, and it kind of talks about all the cool historical stuff that we have here. I just don't really think I've taken advantage of that, and I just want to take advantage of it now. That's all.
Well, so Courtney, along those lines, have you actually read through the Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers and the Constitution, of course, and the Declaration of Independence? Have you read all through all those docs?
I read through the Constitution and stuff. I read through the Bill of Rights. Like this stuff I got taught. Not the other things though. I unfortunately I didn't get taught everything because they stopped teaching a lot of this stuff, unfortunately. So I haven't really read through that stuff. But the Constitution and Bill of Rights I have read through because I got taught that in a long time ago. So.
Well, since you were mentioning how you like to learn things about that, I would suggest do that. Now, the Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers, there's a lot of them. And that was basically the discussions being had printed in a newspaper between all the quote unquote politicians or Congress members in order to actually ratify the Constitution. So these are the conversations that went back and forth and essentially, led to making sure the Bill of Rights was in there because the first draft of the Constitution didn't include that. And they said they refused to sign the Constitution until the ratification was done, hence why they called it amendments, but the first 10 amendments, of course, being the Bill of Rights. It's really worth your time to read. And, of course, the Declaration of Independence. And then you can even go to the Articles of Confederation, which was technically the Constitution before we had that, right? When we were engaging in war and took on, after the Declaration of Independence, took on the most powerful country in the world at that time. They kind of had to get everybody together, and so I highly encourage you. But you got a couple hands, and then we'll get back to you there, Courtney.
No, you're good. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you can find it on, I think it's archives.gov that you can find and start reading. Like I said, there's quite a few, but you'll like, some of them are really good and worth reading. And by the way, I found out there are 16 presidential libraries in the library system.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm not sure who was first, whether it was Mad Dog or John.
That'll be Mad Dog, and then I'm next. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm not going to visit the garbage can. I refuse. I don't even know if that was really a president that put that one up. And I got a backup truth on reading the Federalist Papers. It's really interesting. And just realizing at the same time that some of these people that were writing this and talking about this were in their 20s. That founded this country. It's just absolutely amazing. And outside of that, the reason why we're a constitutional republic instead of a democracy is so important, and it explains it in there. Yeah, that's all I had to say.
Yeah, for sure, man, Dog. And then what you're going to find when you read through the Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers, they make a lot of references to other things that help them form our country. So it's going to lead you to Montesquieu. It's going to lead you to John Locke, the John Locke collection. And it's also going to lead you to, if you really pay attention, to the book of Deuteronomy in the Bible. So the book of Deuteronomy actually has the most influence. So I'd highly recommend all those things. You got a big reading list, Nicole. So go ahead, John.
Thank you, Truth. Yeah, I'm going to hop in on that as well. The Federalist Papers. Courtney, yeah, it's great, a great read. It's painful, very painful English. It's that old English back then that they spoke in. But when you get through it, you'll find out exactly how it all came together. And there was three of them. It was John Jay, James Madison, and Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton. And what's interesting, and I'll just drop one piece of it that was a big takeaway for me. Hamilton spoke about the common bond. And by the way, all through the Federalist Papers, they're addressing the antis. They're addressing the arguments through those papers. So, and Hamilton spoke of the common bond between the 4 territories, which made up the 13 original colonies, that there were politicians back then that basically wanted 4 separate nations within a nation. They didn't want one nation under God. So the common bond that glued it all together was to have a common navy to protect our international commerce on the high seas. That was the glue that bound it all together. That they couldn't all have their own individual militaries. It had to be one military to protect the entire 4 territories in the 13 original colonies. And so, yeah, and as far as the democracy, a full-blown democracy versus a republic, I'll drop it here. Benjamin Franklin was asked, are we a monarchy or a republic? His answer was a republic if you can keep it. They knew we would be here someday, and they didn't know what form, but they knew that we would be challenged because they had done the deep dive study on all previous democracies, all previous republics prior to ours, seeing how they had risen and how they had fallen. So there's the challenge. And we're at the 250 mark right there, right now. So I'll drop it there. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Yeah, there's so much interesting things to read, and yeah, knowing what the difference is between democracies and republics, constitutional republic, then you'll start to understand why they actually came up with the electoral college. I mean, they were so far ahead. Their vision for what was to come was pretty amazing when you think about it. And the unfortunate thing is we've gotten so far from the Constitution, and then it's made all this legislation and bullshit that technically isn't even law because it goes against the Constitution. And then you look at the Patriot Act and all, there's so much crap, So, yeah, you got lots of reading to do. Come back and give us your report when you're done.
Well, I read Deuteronomy and I read the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, so I just have to read the other stuff. So I'm a little bit there.
You're there. Hey, you're curious, and that's what counts. That's like refreshing from a younger person. I don't know how young you are, but you sound pretty young.
30. I'll be 35 in December, so I'm pretty young. I was born 91, so I'm still a young duckling, I guess you can call me.
Yeah, 30s are fun. You don't feel like you're old, but you feel like you're older. You know what I mean? And then you're like, wow, 40's right around the corner, and then all of a sudden. Yeah. Your 50s hit you, and you can't see shit. You can barely hear. Your body aches just from brushing your teeth. All that. I'm serious. Anyway, go ahead, John.
Thanks, Truth. Yeah, this is a great discussion. Courtney, if you want to see a really good video, and it's only 17 minutes, I believe, on our Constitution, it's a congressional hearing with Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. God rest his soul, he has since passed on. But he describes our Constitution in comparison to other Western democracies / republics. And also he compared it to the USSR, which was Russia at that time, and said that Russia's constitution is actually better than ours. If you read it, and it's just phenomenal how it blows away our Bill of Rights. They have everything that we have, but even more. But then he says that if you were to take those constitutions and show it to our founding fathers, they would have described it as a parchment guarantee, words on paper. Okay. And so now what we're faced with today and possibly risking losing our a constitutional republic, because we are basically it's starting to seem that we are becoming words on paper. We're not following it. So it's a great a video to watch. He really describes, and he talks about the Federalist Papers, and he says like there's nobody or not many students today that are reading the Federalist Papers, and they should. He was a constitutionalist, and I'll drop it there. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for sharing that info. I didn't know Russia even had a constitution, to be honest. Had no idea. That's actually information I'm going to look into now too, because it's quite interesting.
Isn't it though? Just all these different ideals in different countries and different backgrounds and histories. We're obviously the youngest country. I think we're the youngest or one of the, right? I mean, we've got quite a few countries around the world, but I think America is actually technically the youngest. And the fact that we're the most powerful country in the world says a lot on the foundation was good. And the foundation, if you read the Declaration of Independence, was on God, which is pretty awesome. Everybody wants to deny it. Everybody talks crap and blah, blah, blah. And the white supremacy or whatever bullshit story they're going to try to tell you. But don't buy into that stuff, Anyway, well, it's good to see a few of our locals in here. Good morning, everybody. If you got some topic you want to bring up, great. I don't know really what's going on as far as any breaking news, but I do know that today is the 230th anniversary of the lovely state of Tennessee. So we're celebrating today, June 1st, 230 years as a state. So yippee. Go ahead, John.
Thanks, Truth. Real quick, I dropped that link to the Justice Antonin Scalia video, I think it's 17 minutes video, down in the purple pill. So if anybody wants to watch that.
Nice.
Thank you.
I'm sure. Go ahead, Terry.
Justice Scalia was probably one of our best conservative justices. And when he passed away at that ranch, I think it was in New Mexico, man, that whole death, Prince got a better death investigation than Justice Scalia did. The way that whole thing went down so quickly, kind of makes you wonder, don't it?
Well, thank goodness we have, Clarence Thomas. I mean, what a great justice he's turned out to be. And that's going to be a damn shame when he's gone. Because he really, I think he holds the whole thing together, quite frankly. But that's just my opinion. Go ahead, Mad Dog.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on the release of Tina Peters today. It's a great day to have her released. I'm really looking forward to that. I hope something comes out on the other end where she gets some kind of justice, where the nation gets some kind of justice for what has happened to her and the fraud and everything. I hope she's holding on to something that can be used by the federal government against Colorado. That was a travesty.
Oh, I completely agree. I really hope that she gets to sue the crap out of that state, It's so disgusting to see that kind of stuff happening. It ties in basically with J6 and all that crap. It's just nothing but lies. And people are starting to realize that even people that don't want to and they want to deny it, they kind of can't anymore. It's like, well, no, the evidence is kind of overwhelming. The election was rigged. J6 was a sham. Everybody knows COVID was a sham. It's like people are waking up. But how we carry on, how we move forward as a country, as we the people who really are the country, it's going to be interesting to see. It's an interesting time to be alive, to say the least. Then you put in the stuff that we talk about a lot, the reality of the real war that's going on, the spiritual war, between good and evil, because that's what's really happening. And I think more and more people are waking up to that, So anyway, go ahead, John.
Thank you, Truth. And speaking of waking up, have you seen the movie The Age of Disclosure?
I don't know if I caught that one. I know I've been watching lots of cool documentaries, but I know of it. I just can't remember if I watched
got
it.
it. You got it. You got to watch it. It's all about UFOs and what the government has not shared with the public and why, and the CIA's involvement, the Air Force, and all this stuff, and the whistleblowers. It is just I watched it last night. It is mind blowing. So, The Age of Disclosure, highly recommend.
Is it just like on Apple and Amazon and all that crap? Like you can get it that way?
I believe Amazon, yeah, Netflix, I think has it. There's a few of the platforms that are carrying it, but yeah, it might actually still be out in the movie theaters. I don't know. It was 2025, but yeah, you can Google it.
Well, I don't use Google, but yes, I know what you mean.
Then grok
yeah,
it.
right. What the heck was I going to say? There was another thing that I just recently watched. Angel's been putting out a lot of good content, by the way. Angel Studios, pretty cool stuff. And then Sugar Magnolia, we're trying to get you up here. I'm not sure. It says your connection's acting weird. If you have to drop out and come back in, we'll get you up here. Yeah, it's a fascinating time to be alive, right? And there's lots of good content that I've been watching myself. Always recommend people. There's a great documentary called The Ark and the Darkness. And it's actually all the history about Noah's Ark and the proof, overwhelmingly non negotiable proof that the world completely was flooded. It's so awesome. There's a whole bunch of scientists on there that, just basically show you irrefutable proof about it. It's really well done. So if you have not seen that, The Ark and the Darkness, I really would highly recommend it. Go ahead, Courtney. Or Nicole, sorry, Court.
You're good. You can call me Courtney. That's totally fine. I was just gonna let you guys know too. I came across something that was kind of similar to what John was talking about. I was just on YouTube watching something basically about Trump, and then all of a sudden it goes to this like free movie documentary that they had. It was called Battle of Disclosure, and it's kind of similar to what he's talking about. It's with Dr. Stephen. Forgot his last name. Geary or something. However you say it. Anyways, he basically has military whistleblowers in that documentary. It's called Battle of Disclosure, and it came out in 2024, so it's a little bit older than the one that he was talking about. That one actually came out with military whistleblowers in the documentary, and not to mention they use like clips of the news, they use like clips of things that have happened in like our time of frame, and then obviously tie it into the documentary as well too. So it's quite interesting how there's a couple of different ones out there, but I did put the movie documentary down there. It's free. There's no cost or anything. So if anybody's interested in watching it, you guys can also watch that one too. And that one also kind of blows the top off of the UFOs and Air Force and all that stuff too.
Oh, now I know you got tinfoil stirred up if he already hasn't seen it. Okay, so we're talking about good documentaries. There's another one. Oh yeah, Beneath Sheep's Clothing. In fact, I'll try to find her profile on here. This woman, she wrote a book and then turned it into a documentary. It is awesome. It basically explains to you Marxism, communism, and how it's infiltrated our country. It is so worth watching. There's so much good information. Go ahead, Dan. I figured you'd want to talk.
Another good one that I really liked has the late David Wilcock in it, Above Majestic, and it's about the space program and very, very interesting. One of my favorite quotes from it is, the first problem a thinking person can make is believing history is absolute fact. History is observed by a series of observers, none who are impartial. And that has made me think ever since then to really look at things differently than I used to.
John, you got your hand up?
Sorry, Tin. I was trying to post. I put it up on the top there for everybody. The beneath sheets. Sorry about that, Tin. Yeah, go ahead, John.
Thank you, Terry. Yeah, tinfoil. What you just said reminds me of that phrase. History is written by the victors. The victors of all the wars. They write history. So interesting. Yeah, and truth as far as the Marxism, socialism, communism, how and when it was infiltrated. Another great speaker is Monica Crowley. If you ever get a chance to listen to Monica Crowley, I've watched her and listened to her two great speeches that she's done down here in South Florida. In both speeches, she talks about how after World War II, when we went into the Cold War, the KGB decided to attack us from within, okay, without a shot fired. And how did they do that? They infiltrated our media, our schools, academia, Hollywood, all our major institutions. They decided to attack us from within. And we've seen that over the decades. And after one of her speeches, I got up to the microphone for Q&A, and I recited that part of it, and I complimented her on that, on her sharing that with us. And my question to her was, do you think McCarthy got it right, meaning Joseph McCarthy and McCarthyism, where he was going after all the inbred socialist Marxists of the time back then, and he was basically deemed evil? You know, McCarthyism was bad, evil McCarthyism, you know, and put down. And she said that she agreed that McCarthy got it right, but he might not have been the right messenger back then. He might have been a little too abrasive, yada, yada, yada. But I just thought that was interesting as to what we're seeing now is a culmination of decades. We're watching the icing on the cake as far as all of that with especially academia, the universities. So I'll drop it there.
Yeah, that's another one, Nicole. If you want to go look up the whole McCarthyism era, so to speak, is what it's kind of referred to. But look at some of the trials, some of the footage from that. It's pretty telling. And I mean, he was doing it, you know, it already had been going on for years. So this is in the, you know, the 50s that they're trying to get this, you know, eradicated from our whole system. There was actually a law made, which still is in existence, but nobody seems to be using it, that no one that has any ties whatsoever to anything of remotely close to Marxism, communism, or they're not allowed to hold office. But here we are, where we have people openly calling themselves Democrat socialists. So, yeah, highly recommend that. Go ahead, Nicole.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I was just gonna mention the movie documentary that Tinfoil was talking about. I did actually post it down below. You got kind of have two options. I don't know if people have Tubi in here, but it's free. It's an app that just has like old TV shows and movies. It's kind of actually is nice to kind of watch your old shows you haven't seen for a long time because they're off the TV, like MASH and the old stuff. And then also there's a YouTube version also. So if you don't want to download the app, you don't have to. There's also a YouTube version that's free. But I just wanted to mention it if you guys are interested in watching it, because I watched that one too. It's pretty interesting. Like I said, a lot of the stuff that David Wilcox got was actually from U.S. military intelligence. So all the stuff that they're talking about is literally from people that have actually seen or gone through these experiences. I also do have the book that they wrote about aliens, UFOs, and Nazis. And that was David Wilcox and Gory Good. And I have that book. They talk about the Dark Fleet. They talk about all this information. It's quite interesting. I didn't buy it. It kind of just came to me. Me and my mom went to Goodwill. It was like maybe 25 cents, if that. And we're like, oh, let's just buy it. So we bought a whole bunch of books about Nazis and UFOs. So I just wanted to share that, but that's it.
So do you know what a Foo Fighter is?
Yes, it's one of their first UFOs that they named.
It's funny that the band would come out like that, but go ahead, Miles.
Truth, I'm glad you brought up the hearings with McCarthy. So if you go back and watch those films, pay attention to who's sitting on each side of McCarthy. Ron Cohn, that was Trump's lawyer in New York, and RFK. So that tells you something right there. The two people sitting with McCarthy. Yeah, a lot of interesting things are happening. So I'm glad that you're talking about this stuff. I was trying to relay some information about the new economic system, and you guys remember Steve Mnuchin? And there's some weird correlations with him. He starts a entertainment company in 2004 called Dune, and that's when The Apprentice started, also in 2004. So I'm not drawing any parallels or some coordination of what is happening, but Mnuchin, when he was Secretary of Treasury, went over to the Emirates 27 times to pretty much set up, the Board of Peace and the Abraham Accord. So I don't know where these people are getting off, but that Israel's the problem when you have a lot of people trying to, maintain a peaceful relationship in that region through economics, shared economics. So
Voodoo economics. Anyway, I don't know if you got remember what I'm talking about, but never mind. John, go ahead.
Thanks, Truth. Yeah, this is a great conversation. The Age of Disclosure movie that I watched last night, they touched on things related to the whistleblowers, and the whistleblowers basically said that there are deep layers of our government, the deep state, the swamp, whatever you want to call it, that they don't share all of the information, full disclosure, transparency with our elected leaders, our elected officials. And so that there are things that were done and probably things that are still being done that our president doesn't know about. And they went through the history of like, JFK's era. And when we talk about Joseph McCarthy and RFK, and those hearings, what have you, you just kind of wonder, and I've often heard that the CIA was involved with JFK's assassination. And what was going on back then, you have to wonder too, who, and they've often brought George Bush Sr. into it because he was the CIA director back then, and that he was the culprit or what have you. But was he really? Was there deep layers of the CIA that were doing things that the CIA director didn't even know about, and covert missions being accomplished without the director knowing about it? Because they looked at the directors and the elected officials back then as short timers. They weren't the career people, that were in the deeper layers, and they were worried about their careers going full tilt 20, 30-year career. So the higher elected officials were just short timers. So I'll drop it there.
Yeah, this opens up so much, that we can go down. But it's really important that people do understand this and why Marxism and communism is so horrid. The fact that we have the quote unquote Democrat Party kind of embracing these radical ideals, but it's been around. We tried to eradicate it back with the McCarthyism era, but even before then, it was going on. It's been going on since the late 1800s, ever since Marx came out with, his writing of the Communist Manifesto, Das Kapital, and all that kind of crap. And if you try to break it down, like you look at it and you go, sure, the human want or desire to have some kind of utopian society, utopian world where everybody gets along and it's all about love and all this kind of crap. The unfortunate reality is that's just never going to happen because human beings have evil in them. There's good and there's evil. So as long as you have that ability or possibility of someone to not do what you would assume to be a good, it's never going to work. It's just never going to work. So the fact that America is so strong, and even though we're infants in the idea of the entire world, they had the opportunity to create a society and a government based on people running it, which at first it worked for a while, but they were constantly being fought against from day one. Nobody wanted this to work. Nobody wanted this to happen, as far as the powers that be. So when we look back to it, just the early beginnings of this country, the amount of time it took to even come to the ratification of the Constitution, and all the infiltration of people that were still loyal to the crown, and then you lead to the Civil War and what that was really over. I'm sorry, it wasn't about slavery. You can rant and rave all you want, but read a freaking history book and start to learn the truths of it, and the fact that England was demanding that we pay them for the war, that they lost all the ships and people, and people were going, no, we're not. What are you talking about? We're not paying you anything. We don't owe you a damn thing. You lost. We won. It's just interesting to go through that whole history of this country, and here we are, where we're facing, especially our younger children that have been programmed because the school system was changed, especially in the 70s, and the Board of Education and whatnot, and it was really designed to make our children, as we're seeing the effect now, hate this country, doubt this country, have totally different realities of what this country was founded on. The civics was taken out. God was taken out. But more importantly, that made a huge difference. Prayer was taken out of school. I mean, there's all kinds of little things that, as they happen along that whole journey, we see the downfall, really, of this, this country. We are so close to actually losing it, and people don't realize that. I know that if Trump didn't win and Kamala Ding Dong would have been put in office, we'd be doomed. I don't think this country would have survived it. I really don't. But that's just my 2 cents. Go ahead, Miles.
Yeah, I don't know where John went. I was going to give him some more information about the CIA, but we can move on to, what is trying to be done to fix a broken company, if you want to look at our country as a company. And I think that that's on 2 levels, on a financial level and on a spiritual level. So that's what's in play right here, even though it's really hard to figure out all the psyops that are being run on both sides. But just pay attention to the economic side for right now, because that's going to lead us into a new age of awakening and spirituality, because we won't be fighting the dark forces, because it's always chaos with them. That's how they control us. So I mean, just think if you didn't have to worry about certain things in life and you could focus more on helping people and being more spiritual, they hate that. So I think that's what they're working on. Thanks for the mic.
Yeah, it's always been, always will be spiritual battle. There's no question on that. It's just interesting to watch everything unfold, and you just look at all the shit that we are bombarded with on a daily. Just, sit here and look at your feed and just watch it for an hour. You'll be like, no, what the, just look at this, look at that, distraction here, distraction there, fear this, buy this, just constant bullshit. Anyway, Nika, did you get coffee in you, darling? Are you awake yet? That would be a negative. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I just got out of the shower, so I was. I'm a little crazy, guys. I am actually on my way, getting ready to head up to meet Casey from the American Rancher Alliance. So I'm super excited for today. But I'm trying to get ready so I can get out the door. But if you haven't already, if you could please go down to the Purple Pill and like and share the space out, we'd appreciate it.
See, just so much sweeter coming from you. Thank you. Yeah, and if you got to drop Nika, obviously, no big deal. Go ahead, Tim.
I do have a clip from Above Majestic queued up if you want me to play it. This scene's from when they talk about the history of the nuclear bomb, which is very, very interesting. Do you want me to play it?
Sure, it's not that long, I don't think, right?
No, it's only about 1 minute and 49 seconds.
Let's hear it.
Okay, here we go.
When the Trinity nuclear test was done and Robert Oppenheimer said, "We have done this before," he was speaking from an informed perspective. In the ancient Hindu text, the Bhagavad Gita, there is a reference to a bolt of iron charged with the light of 1,000 suns. It describes radiation sickness. It describes elephants screaming and dying. It describes the shadows that are left on the ground after the blast goes off. All things that we're now very familiar with in the nuclear age. The same culture that described what appeared to be the use of a modern nuclear weapon also was describing things like anti-gravity craft that flew through the air with no sound called vimanas. These craft could pass right through a mountain, and they also used some sort of particle beam weapons. You have human-looking beings that are larger than the rest of us and have blue skin, like Krishna, and they also have extraordinary abilities. And in addition to that, you have weird reptilian beings called Rakshasas, who are also codenamed snakes. And these beings clearly appear to be of a reptilian nature. This even goes to the point that you still to this day have temples in India in which there are people called Nagas who have a human-like top, but then from the waist down, they literally have a snake's body. All of this stuff takes on a much different investigative hue once we look at the fact that the actual record of what we now know a nuclear bomb looks and acts like is dutifully recorded in these Hindu scriptures.
Pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, our history is definitely, like we said earlier, written by those who win, and and a lot of these things we don't read anymore, and we don't know what to trust, right? But who knows what happened in the past? The past could have actually been more technologically advanced than we are today. I mean, just look at the pyramids. It's a great example. Like, we can't even build one today. There's just no way, right? But somehow some primitive culture with some rope and stuff built that. It's just, it's pretty fascinating. Thanks, Tim. Go ahead, Miles.
Well, I have a question. I mean, we talk about the Great Flood. I mean, was that's a way that God was going to kind of cleanse what was going on down here? Because I think there are biolabs set up a long time ago, and they manipulated stuff in the labs. And I'm talking about ancient stuff. So, God's looking at his creation going, well, what are they doing down there? I'm just asking the question. I don't know. I wasn't there during Noah's time, so I just have to read about it. So it's just a question.
And that's why I recommended actually watching Ark in the Darkness. It's really well done, and they go through that, the whole timeline and whatnot. And God looked down upon the world, and it was just full of sin and child sacrifice, which happened back then. All that same crap, Molech, all that bullshit, right? And he's just like, that's it. You're done. Noah and his family was the only thing, left on the earth that was righteous to restart it. And, it's pretty fascinating regarding that. And then that leads to the Tower of Babel. After that the world came together. They all spoke one language. And it's interesting if you get into studying language, and they always try to find the root language that they all kind come to one place to where there's no one root of all languages. It's really fascinating. You gotta, I'm telling you, Miles, you probably really enjoy it. You gotta watch it. I believe you can find it for free online. Again, the Ark and the Darkness. Go ahead, Tim.
I've also kind of looked at Genesis too, and I kind of looked at it from a symbolic point of view. And when they say that Eden ate from the tree of knowledge, I kept thinking, like, why does that sound familiar? And from my IT experience, well, we call a database a tree. And I was like, wait a minute, what if the tree of knowledge was a database of some sort that we've accessed when we weren't ready for? And then God had to kind of reboot the system and get us away from it, and did what he had to do. And so this is kind of going back to thinking what we were more advanced than what we are now back then. And then that's how I was looking at things, and just, I don't know, kind of interesting thought going there.
Well, I'm okay. So if you look at human DNA, the complexity alone, just of the makeup of human DNA, when you get to see it under microscopic world, it's unbelievable. And that's where a lot of people in science have just admitted, even some of our greatest scientists, that there is a creator. Even when you try to go with the whole evolutionary thing, and you go into the Big Bang theory. Well, obviously there was a Big Bang, and that was God saying, "Let there be light," and there was light, right? That the design of everything had to be created. It just didn't happen. There's another one that I think Angel just put on. What the heck is it called? Let me look it up while I'm sitting here waiting. I didn't know if we had another hand, but yeah, there's so much fascination just in the human body alone. Our DNA is incredible. The way our brains and the synapses work with our whole nervous system, how the human body itself, just 1 second of life is such a miracle. It really is. It's unbelievable. If you sit there and really study it, like of every single organ in your body, how it works together. And there's just so much to talk about regarding these topics, right? You can go down so many different rabbit holes, if you will. Go ahead, Tim.
And here's another interesting aspect. When you brought the DNA, I got curious and asked, I wondered how much data DNA can hold. So I've been looking around, and I found this little snippet. It says the DNA is a single human cell holds about 750 megabytes of biological data, while storing the entire digital text sequence of the genome can take roughly 3 gigabytes of data. But because of human DNA consists of 3.2 billion base pairs, the raw data encodes perfectly into a quaternary system where A, T, C, and G each represent 2 bits. The density potential is truly staggering. A single gram of DNA can theoretically store over 250 petabytes of information. Now, to give you an idea of what a petabyte is, let's see. How many DVDs can 1 petabyte hold? So 1 petabyte holds about 223,100 DVDs. So if we take times 215, that's about 48 million DVDs, give or take a few. I think that's wild.
Isn't it though? Who was first, Mad Dog or Miles?
Well, I just have a quick question. It was really interesting. The last thing that this anonymous person online said was protect your DNA. And I don't know how to do that, but it was interesting that was the last post that was put out there. That's all I want to say.
Huh. Boy, oh boy, makes you think. Go ahead, Mad Dog. Oh, what happened? Mad Dog, I can't hear you, bud. Maybe drop and come back up. Still can't hear you. I don't know what's going on. Weird. We'll bring you back up. Just drop down. Maybe you have to exit. Go ahead, Cord.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys are still on this topic because I was kind of busy trying to get to work. The whole protecting your DNA is is kind of really easy actually. You just don't really consume any of this artificial stuff that they give you. So like the bioweapons, like the vaccines, the pharmaceutical drugs, because in the Bible it talks about who deceives us is pharmakia, right? So those are the deceivers. And then you also can, go back to the earth and go back to basic life, which is kind of what they don't want you to do. They don't want you to grow your own vegetables or fruit or anything like that, like, our, great grandparents used to do. I think they wanted us to rely on them to like give us their food source as well as controlling all the environment. And on top of that, not to mention they do put fluoride in the water, which kind of hurts all of us. So they've been after our DNA for a long time, and this connects to the transhuman humanism agenda. But you can kind of go back to Terminator and Hollywood and kind of figure out that they want to turn us into cyborgs and connect us to this big entire cloud and put us in an actual matrix, not like what we're talking about now, but like an actual one. So that's just something I learned along the way. To protect your DNA, you just don't consume any of the stuff the government gives you.
Oh yeah, there's so much fluoride in our whole system, and they're finally admitting it's complete poison. But go ahead, Mad Dog.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. In protecting your DNA, you can't stop your sister, mother, brother, cousins from sharing or giving up theirs. So I, I don't know. That's kind of a tricky thing. But on a subject change, I posted in the Purple Pill something that the IRGC or Iran is just posted to Trump that they're backing out completely.
Oh, interesting. Well, we all know what's coming next, right? Oh, I lost Terry. Hold on a second.
Can I talk about fluoride for a second?
Yeah, go ahead, Mom.
Yeah, I was watching a show and they were talking about dentistry, and this one guy, he became a dentist and I think it was 85, and he had a lot of questions, and he said there was so much pressure put on people that were in the medical field and dentistry, not to ask certain questions, especially about fluoride. And he said, if you get into a situation where someone's questioning about that, just, here's a number, call that number, and they'll tell you what to say. And that's a red flag right there. So I went out and I looked at, the acceptable levels of fluoride and and I was asking Grok too, like, well, what would a high level of fluoride do to people? And I think I was getting, good answers, but yeah, especially in children, it's really bad. Not so much for adults on a really low level, but yeah, I mean, it can be fatal on a high level. But I don't even know why it didn't, it wouldn't explain to me why they're even using it. We don't even need it, but and and it is a natural. Fluoride is natural. We think that it's all made artificially. It's in nature, so it's a fluoride sulfate that comes out of nature, but it's at a level that's tolerable for humans. So because I think there's a lot of misconception on fluoride that it's all made by some chemical factory somewhere and they put it in our system, but it's a natural thing. So
Yeah. All the things that we were told weren't good for us ended up being good for us. All the things that we were told were good for us aren't good for us. You know, it's always been kind of backwards. You know, good fatty foods, and you know when they started inventing the non-fat milk and skim milk and 1%, is like, oh, let's just deplete what milk was supposed to do from your body. But anyway, where is Miss Apothecaro when we need her? We usually like talking about that. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, actually, in 2011, I had sodium fluoride, or sodium fluoride in a Pyrex dish with with hydrochloric acid in one, and it was, wait a minute, and eggshells in both, and one without the sodium fluoride, with a suspicion that what was called a double replacement reaction or a salt metathesis reaction would occur, and this is what's in toothpaste. And if the reaction happened, it would have fogged up the glass, which it did, which confirms that when you swallow any amount of toothpaste, it converts into hydrofluoric acid, which loves calcium, and table salt. And the hexafluorosilicic acid can produce as much or double, depending on which reaction occurs with which aluminum-based salt. So, I mean, as far as health goes, if it's for your teeth, why do we have to ingest it? And where is the informed consent? It's never been informed consent. It's been mandated. And this year, right now, we're circulating a petition to stop a data center. And we're a quarter of the way there after 1 week. And we have a full month to get the rest of the signatures. And I think next year, what I have to figure out is whether it's a referendum or an initiative petition. And we're going to push back against fluoridation as well. It's also an election year, so it's going to be a bloodbath when it comes to the seats in the municipality. So I figure not many of them will survive re-election. I'm not saying that in any way other than a metaphor. There's no intention or violence or anything, but I think it will give us the pivot to, hey, we can make decisions for our city too, and all we have to do is go door to door, get signatures, get active. And I'd love to be the 5th city in Ohio to turn down fluoridation. But yeah, it's just another toxicant, something that's not organic, that's poisonous to us. And like other toxicants, they accumulate in the body and they cause problems. That's all.
Yeah, there's a whole world there that, like I said before, in many spaces, unfortunately, most people don't know a damn thing about their own body. Your own body is the only thing that you actually own your entire life. So why not learn a little bit more about it instead of filling your head with sports statistics and a bunch of bullshit? There's the movie I was talking about, their new one that's on Angel Studios. If you guys don't have a subscription to Angel, might consider it. It's actually relatively cheap. I think it's $7 or $8 or whatever a month. But Universe Designed is one of their newer ones that's out, and it's really cool. Just exploring, our entire universe and how it's made and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's something I wanted to throw in there. I know we just lost Miss Nika. She's on her way to actually meet with Casey. If you all know Casey from the American Rancher Alliance, Nika is out visiting in Wyoming. So the two of them together is going to be a lot of fun. So anyway. So Terry, you're still with me? It's working all right?
Yeah. Thank you for bringing me back. I just had a connection issue there. I just posted in the pill for CBS News, 70-year-old Tina Peters, Gold Star mom, has been released, which is that's good news. that she's out of that hellhole. So I put that in the bill.
Now I hope that Trump helps pay and gives her attorneys, and she sues the crap out of the state and makes them bankrupt.
Well, the thing is because our constitutional republic, or the way our framers designed it, was that we vote for our leaders. The minute that starts to get corrupted, it's a really huge problem for our country at all levels, whether it's state, federal. I think they should always err to the whistleblower to see what their intent was when they released the information. Because if their intent was to keep the integrity of our election processes sound, I think that we should err more toward the whistleblower. And that what they did to her in this instance was just so bad. So, but you know, that's Colorado.
Yeah, it's even hard to believe that even happened. But go ahead, Miles.
Did you guys listen to Carol Space on Sunday? They were talking.
Unfortunately, I haven't got to yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they had a woman that she I can't remember. It's alpha something. It's a syndrome. Alpha gal. Yeah. She has that from the Lone Star tick. Now I'm up in central, like south central Minnesota right now, and the ticks this year, because I was here last year, I maybe saw one tick. I mean, I took 3 of them off me last night, and I'm checking Molly, my dog. So I don't know. And another thing, there's dragonflies, like millions of dragonflies, and they're different kinds. And I think that I can't prove this, but I think there's a lot of gaslighting that on social media that, oh, Bill Gates is doing all this stuff. No, nature goes through cycles, and there's going to be cycles of locusts. There's going to be cycles of dragonflies, and they go on a pattern. And I just think this year, for whatever reason, the wood ticks or deer ticks, they're out there in force, and they're not being dropped by airplanes all over the country. So I just don't know where this stuff comes from, because you can't prove it. I didn't see any plane fly over and drop ticks. They're just in the woods. There's a lot of them this year. So.
Yeah, I gotta push back on that, Miles. Sorry, but yeah, they're manipulating ticks, mosquitoes, the whole nine. It's happening.
I just want receipts. People, I can say anything. You don't have to believe anything I say here. So I just want some documentation that they're actually doing this, instead of some guy at the end of the bar telling me that this is happening.
And show me documentation that they're not doing it, and then we can play this game all day long.
I'm posting pictures.
Yeah, but I mean, there's been all kinds of farmers and ranchers showing boxes left in their fields and all that kind of stuff. But show me the documentation about the chemtrails. We all know what's happening. We all see it. It's real. There's studies doing, but they still don't admit it. They're not showing us that. You know what I mean? We can do this all day long. Go ahead, Nicole, and then we'll go to Take Back.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention I actually dropped the information on DARPA. DARPA is the one that's doing the insect stuff along with everything else. So it's really not hard to just look into your defense advanced programs and just understand that the government has been doing the manipulation on insects for a long time. I want to drop my plane on that one.
Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, we'll keep going back. Go ahead, Take Back.
So thanks for the mic, and thanks for keeping Marlin Space going. I just want to remind everybody that we don't elect leaders, we elect servants, and they're supposed to be doing managing our business of our country, of our state, of our county, of our township or municipality. Actually, municipality is a corporate term. If you look in the statutes, you'll find that in there as a corporation. So just be mindful of the words we use. Like, our democracy, it's not a democracy, it's a republic. The words are so important. I just did a 20-page like intro to Black's Law Dictionary and all the terms that we should know and we expect that we know or we think we know. And that Black's Law Dictionary, let's lead to fourth edition, has a totally different meaning to those words. So if you're going into court or you're talking about law and you're not using the right terms, it's just confusing. In fact, Black's Law Dictionary now has 12 editions. And why would they need 12 editions to explain the law? Is because they remove the meanings of the words. They change them to confuse us. So when you go into court, why do you need an attorney? Because he's supposed to be learned in the law, but he has no idea about the real law, which is the Constitution's the highest law in the land. And that's why when you go into court and they talk about, do you understand? They mean, do you stand under my jurisdiction? And we're supposed to be in common law. The people are supposed to be in common law, and the government and the corporations are supposed to be under statutory law. So they've got everybody confused to the max. And if we don't straighten that out, we're not going to get too far. And with that, I'll land my plane.
Well, thanks for coming up and hanging and supporting Marlon Space, even though he ain't here. I think he said he's going to try to run it tomorrow, but yeah, we've heard that before. But as far as understanding our actual foundational documents and understanding the law, that's a big old freaking rabbit hole that we tend to go down quite a bit here. But if anybody has any breaking news, the fact that, of course, Tina Peters was released is definitely good breaking news. Thank goodness. Hopefully she stays safe and is able to, come out with the information that she was trying to actually make people notified of from the get-go. And I know that Sugar Magnolia tried to get a mic earlier, and then it didn't work. So if you guys are having trouble with the space, my apologies. I'm not sure what's going on, but I see a lot of familiar faces, so we're always glad that you're here. Miss Nika had to jump away, like I said. Terry, what's going on with you, bud?
Oh, just Monday, having some coffee, the only breaking that I know of was what I just posted with Tina this weekend. The news cycle was kind of trending toward Graham Plattner, the candidate for Senate in Maine. He's going up against Susan Collins. Hello. And supposedly the breaking news that he was sexting, SEXTING, women after he was married. He was married in 2023. And then obviously he has that controversy concerning the tattoo that he had on his chest for, I don't know, almost 15 years. And he finally decided to remove it and ran for office. But, and Clint Eastwood turned 96 yesterday. That made my day. So that's a couple of things that went on this weekend.
Yeah, Clint's still sticking in there, huh?
Yeah, he is. He was in his 30s when he did the Good and the Bad and the Ugly movies. That's kind of hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, dude, to think back that far. Those old spaghetti westerns are awesome.
Well, the thing about Clint, his whole philosophy is just keep moving. Don't accept where you're at age-wise. Just keep pushing. Just keep living life to its fullest every day. And that's kind of what he's done. I think some of his best movies were made in his later years. Gran Torino, that's a classic.
Yeah, The Unforgiven, and there's a lot of.
But yeah, I don't know if you're talking, but it kind of lost you there, Truth. I see you pushing the mic, but I'm not hearing anything.
Yeah, his mic keeps getting muted.
I guess this is where I'm supposed to fill in the airwave until he can come back to us. Just break in at any time, Truth, if you do get a connection there. Hopefully we don't lose the space as a result. But yeah, there's a big controversy on this Senate candidate for Maine. This guy is just all over the place. I don't know what's going on, who's managing his campaign, but you talk about a lot of ammunition for Susan Collins to use against this guy. I mean, what a train wreck this is. And anybody that's got a mic, if you want to weigh in on this, that's fine.
Did this work?
Yes, sir.
Well, now I know how Marlon feels. He gets messed with all the time, has to reset spaces. Anyway, you were talking about Clint Eastwood. That's the last I remember hearing.
Yeah, I was bouncing between him and that candidate running in Maine for the Senate. And, but yeah, he's 96 on May 31st. That's just incredible.
It's a long life. It's a good life. You know, it's pretty awesome. I don't know if I could handle living that long, but but you know, I'm going to shoot for 250, same age as our country. Let's see if that happens, right?
Right. Well, as long as you have a quality of life, you know, you may not be moving as fast, or obviously you're not going to look as young as you used to, but as long as you can still care for yourself and have your mind, you know, and enjoy life, I wouldn't have an issue with it.
Well, I mean, typically, go ahead.
Doesn't the Bible give us 120 years?
No, that's misconception. What he was talking about in the Old Testament about 100 years, it was 120 years from that time that he talked to Noah until the flood came, saying all mankind has 120 years.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That means we have more.
Yeah. People biblically used to live over 1,000 years, you know, and then it declined drastically after the flood, which again, if you are missing all the nutrient dense foods, which were completely wiped out by the flood, then it would make sense to have such a rapid decline like that. So again, Ark in the Darkness, which Irish was so kind to throw down there in the pill, I reposted it as well. Great film to watch. It'll definitely help explain some of that stuff we're talking about now. Well, I'm glad the space is working still. Had to reset, but Skinny, you're down there lurking, man. I don't know what's going on. You're probably working, but come on up if you feel like it. Go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say the common theme around the flood was that after the flood, people started, the life expectancy was shorter, but there's no biblical record of anyone exceeding 1,000 years. 969 was Methuselah, Jared was 962, but nobody actually exceeded 1,000. And I think a lot of what happened after the flood, water from above and below brought toxicants up that accumulated in our bodies. And at this point, I don't know what life expectancy is because, you know, once you recognize that particular aspect of things, both environmental and injected toxicants, and you get rid of them, the body just remembers how to function properly. So what is life expectancy? Well, we'll find out here in Van Wert, Ohio. One of the things I said in the city council meeting last time was basically that a lot of the oxygen got taken out of the room because of the data center, but the power would be restored to the building soon, and it would be a place where I could educate people on how to deal with these toxicants, and of course the ones we can avoid, and turn this city into a blue zone among the willing, not to be confused with the Democrat death cult blue zone. And I said that exactly in council, which got a little bit of a chuckle. And that there's one caveat that those people with empathy, the good news is it can fix that, but the bad news is it can fix that too. Meaning a person would have to recognize the harm they caused other people, and they would probably hate themselves for a while and have to cope with that. Now, I said that in a room full of psychopaths, and that's who I was really addressing it to. These people do not care about our well-being. They are totally selfishly minded, and the data center they're trying to work with will only hurt the city. There will be no actual financial benefit. And that's what I looked up QTS and all of their history. They had 40 wells on one land. 40 wells. They're not allowed to even drill one well on their property here. They're going to drill wells, and it's going to affect the water table. But that's my take on it, and you know, it was a lead-in to what I really wanted to work on in this city was improving health. I'll drop the mic there.
Yes, our health is the most important aspect, but again, like I said, most people don't pay attention. They don't know a damn thing about their body. And yeah, you know, obviously rounding it up to 1,000 years, you're as far as biblically speaking, yes, Methuselah was the longest recorded of 969 years, which is a long time. Noah himself lived 950 years. Lamech, his father, lived 777. Methuselah before lived 969 years. Then before that was Enoch, and Enoch actually walked with God on the earth for 300 years, and then God took him so he didn't die. Then Jared before him was 962, and Mahalalel was 895 years. Canaan was 910. Enosh was 950, and Seth, the third son of Adam, was 912, and Adam himself lived 930 years. Again, we're biblically speaking here, so, but the rapid decline in lifespans after the flood proves and goes to show that, again, without the nutrient dense foods and plants that were on the earth before the flood and after the flood, you know, major difference. And that's where like a lot of our coal seams and everything come from. It's the plants, our oils and everything. It's not the damn dinosaurs. But anyway, go ahead, Miles.
Yeah, this happened a couple months ago, and I still have Facebook because I'm on like RV group things over there. And on my timeline is called Nature's Lost Vault. And I was like, what is this? I started watching these videos. They're about 20-minute videos. And it's exactly what you were just talking about. It's all the things that they tried to suppress, like from tubers that grew everywhere, and plantain, where it's a medicine. And they just keep putting these out on my timeline about, well, a couple times a week. They'll have a new called Nature's Lost Vault. And they're even explaining who the bad guys are. And I was like, why is this happening on Facebook? But it is. And so I can put a link if you want to watch some of it, or you can just find it if you want. Nature's Lost Vault. And it's got so much good information on homeopathic and natural remedies from the past.
Yeah, our ancestors definitely knew a lot more about their own bodies than we do today. Most people can't even tell you where their heart is. They think it's on the left side of their chest, and it's not. It's actually dead center because there's a big sternum, a big freaking plate that protects it.
I can't find mine. You know? They say I don't have a heart.
Yeah, I could believe that.
Thanks.
Just kidding. Anyway, yeah, I mean, again, I'd always throw the challenge out there. Learn about your body, guys. It's not that difficult. Yes, it can be complex. You use all the medical terminology, blah, 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 but the basic functions, just knowing all the organs, knowing your bones, you know, tibia, fibula, you know, humerus, ulna, radial, basic stuff that you should know. You know what I mean? Taking care of our bodies is probably the most important thing that you could think of doing if you want to live a long, you know, healthy life. And there's tons of great herbal remedies. I mean, most of our, you know, we live on a big plot of land out in the woods in Tennessee, and there's so much amazing plant life, and the medicinal value of just the stuff in our yard is amazing, you know. But go ahead, Miles.
Just a quick data point off topic. So when I was doing some research, remember how people, I don't know if we were talking about this space, other spaces, like when we're going to audit Fort Knox, Steve Mnuchin went there on August 17th, so it's another 17, during a full eclipse, light to dark, and he took God, who did he take with him? Uh, oh, the guy from Kentucky. What do they call him? The turtle. The guy, the old fart. What's his name from Kentucky?
I really don't know who you're talking about. Maybe Terry knows.
Mitch McConnell?
Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, he took Mitch McConnell, and they went to Fort Knox. And Steve Mnuchin, because he was Secretary of Treasury, said, "Yeah, it was there. The gold's there, but they're not going to audit it. Or are you going to tell how much gold that you have? No one. They're never going. No country is going to tell you how much gold they have. Exactly. They're not going to give you an audit because that they shouldn't tell you that. That's national security." So, but Steve Mnuchin said the gold's there, and the turtle is with him, Mitch McConnell. He can't even remember that he was there.
Well, I mean, so if he said the gold's there, just like, people are dropping ticks, prove it. Got to go back and push on you. Same thing. Right?
But I said that's why, just like we can't get this documentation, especially how much gold that a country has. I mean, go over to Indonesia and ask them how much gold they have. Go to the Philippines and say, "Can you tell me how much gold you have?" They're not going to tell you the truth. And I understand why.
It's so funny, just on some basic mineral, how much value is put into that. It's all false value anyway. When you really think about it, the whole monetary system is just such a freaking Ponzi scheme sham. It always has been. The whole modern bank
It's like coffee beans. What if I told you that I wanted, $1,000 a bean? Now, if you all agree on it, then that's what the value of a coffee bean would be. We have to all agree on what the value of something is. If we don't agree on it, then it's not worth anything.
Just like the whole concept of Bitcoin, everybody put this crazy value. For some reason, they value it, and it works, and it's not centralized, or at least the concept isn't. Read the white paper, by the way, if you want to fascinate yourself. Read the white paper about Bitcoin. It's pretty interesting. Anyway, go ahead, Tinfoil. Oh, sorry, Terry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Tinfoil. You had your hand up. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. It's all good. So when I was kind of into my little data center research this weekend, I found some interesting information from a company called TAE, TAE, and they're from Japan, and they've been working on the fusion generator, the mini nuclear fusion generator. And I was looking at some of their Facebook posts of what they've done so far. They're actually moving from the planning stage into the testing phase now. And some of the states that got picked out, if I remember correctly, was Ohio, Alabama, and Tennessee. And I'll post what I found out in the pill for you guys. Take a look at it. It's interesting. It kind of caught my interest real quick. And here's on how this is going to come out. And this may solve some power issues that not only the data centers are proposing, but may solve some grid issues too. So it looks like very interesting technology coming out. So I'll post that there.
If we only would have stuck to Tesla's whole idea and have free energy, gosh, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? But not going to happen. Unfortunately, Terry, what were you going to say about it?
Yeah, I just woke up this morning, was wondering about that, and Tinfoil just answered it for me. I'm just teasing. I love when Tinfoil comes up with this stuff. I don't know about you.
I think it's great. Go ahead, Miles.
Tinfoil, have you heard about a company called Altitude Water?
No, I haven't actually.
Yeah, it's on my timeline. It's called Altitude Water, and what they're doing. So your air conditioning unit that most houses have outside, the size of that. They're working on a unit. It's about that size, and depending on what, and you have to have power to generate it, obviously. but they're taking moisture out of the air, the humidity. And for most homes, it'll be 50 gallons to 100 gallons a day. So these data centers could have larger units, and it's just going to take the humidity out of the air. There's plenty of water. We don't have to worry about water. We're not on Dune. So we live on a water planet. So this technology is coming out with, the 6,000 hidden patents and stuff like that.
So remember though, if you take the moisture out of the air, I'm sure Tim is going to jump up and say it. It's going to affect the weather, right, Tim?
Yeah, it might be nicer.
Honestly, it's hard to say because Mother Nature kind of tends to pump in a lot of moisture from the Gulf, and technically it just cycles. So you pull the water out of the air, you condense in its liquid, and once that liquid is done, and you put it back out in the atmosphere, it just evaporates and cycles over again. So in a way, that could be a solution. I'd like to see more information on that, so I'll check that out. That sounds pretty cool.
Well, I think part of it is just like an air conditioning. I have from my RV here, my overhead, on the roof. I mean, they even set up a drain for the condensation to run off onto the ground. Now I have a backup system, a smaller one, and I have to put a little pan there. It'll collect the condensation, and that's taking humidity right out of my camper when it's hot. I mean, that bowl will fill up in 2 hours. I've got enough water to drink for a whole day. Now, I don't drink that water, obviously, but I'm just saying, it'd have to be filtered. But there is so much water. And I just hear people panicking about water all the time.
And just another. Oh, there's my dog. Hold on a second. Go ahead, my dog.
Breaking news. It's unverified, but the source is credible. U.S. is launching strikes on Iran.
Anymore that will keep their word, and negotiate in good faith.
Yeah, right. I mean, the writing's kind of been on the wall. It was inevitable. It's going to happen. And so good on them. I hope they wipe out that entire regime, quite frankly, and let the Iranian people get back to the way they were. And they've even been crying for it themselves. Like, look, we don't care if we have losses or whatnot. It's anything is better than the shit that we've been living in for, 5 freaking decades. So, go ahead, Miles.
Well, I'm a little confused. I saw that this morning, and Trump just got on Air Force One. He's flying to Utah, probably some kind of campaign stuff, but he said he's going to make a statement. He says, we're really close to signing a deal because he wants to get that dust, the uranium dust, and they're sending people over to Iran. Now, it doesn't make any sense to me. We're bombing them, but we're sending representatives that are going to meet with their people to get the uranium dust at the same time that we're bombing them. So look, this just, it was on Fox News earlier. He was going to make a statement when he got to Utah about, how close we are making a deal. If we can get our people over there, because we can track the uranium dust to where it came from and who sent it to them. And that's more evidence against these bad guys. So I don't know what, I'm confused about the timeline on what's going on here. So he says we're close to a deal if we can get the uranium dust. So that's all I'm saying.
But if they were close, but no deal, then it's going to be the opposite. And he's made it pretty crystal clear. You either have this deal or going to bomb the shit out of you again. I mean, it's not been a secret, right?
So it's my understanding the 3 predicates of the deal is that Iran must stop charging a toll for all the ships going in and out of the Strait of Hormuz because it's, international waters. And the second predicate is they have to abandon pursuing a nuclear weapon, and the third is they have to give up all the uranium that they have, the dust, whatever you want to call it.
Right, and if it does link it to where they got it, which of course we all know would lead to Obama and Hillary, then of course there's some damning evidence there. So you got to think like, well, are they pushing them to bomb the crap out of them to hide the evidence? Right? I'm just throwing it out there, but whatever.
No, I hear what you're saying. You're talking about the Uranium One deal that Hillary was part of, and all that went on during the Obama administration.
Right. So anyway, who knows, right? Who knows? It's all a spectacle game here. We're just throwing it out, caution to the wind. And again, to me, it's just more distraction bullshit to take us away of all the stuff that's really been going on for a long time. They keep hiding it. It keeps getting revealed. They keep denying it. We're conspiracy theorists, all this kind of shit. So it's an old game. I'm kind of tired of it. I've seen it's just a broken record. We've all seen it. We've all heard it. It's just like enough's enough. Go ahead, Miles.
Yeah, the rain stopped here and starting to clear up. So Molly and I are going to go to the dog park, and I got to get some more ticks to pick off. So thanks for the mic this morning.
And no problem. Hopefully you don't lose your appetite for meat. Just be safe. Go ahead, Tinfoil.
What Miles was saying about the technology to pull water out of the atmosphere got me thinking. You put a couple of those near the ocean, like say on the coast, you can technically create drinking water because you can desalinate the salt out of the water and create it from the atmosphere, because nature will do that part automatically, just from the evaporation cycle. And you can create a lot more drinking water that way that you can take into areas that are severely suffering. That would be awesome. That would end a lot of suffering.
What's the byproduct? Salt. Sea salt.
That's really giving me ideas. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and sorry if we're not going to bring people up that have had accounts for quite a few years with only a few posts and all that stuff and hardly any followers. Sorry, dude, I'm not in the mood. Anyway, Mad Dog, were you going to say something before? I missed it. All right. Well, Terry, I'm feeling like I'm getting close to shutting her down. What are your guys' thoughts here?
Yeah, whatever. I mean, you're the host. You're running the space, and whatever your comfort level is. I just wanted to kind of run this by Tinfoil real quick. When I asked the internet why the data centers are being built, they're saying it's driven primarily by the generative artificial intelligence arms race and a relentless increase in daily digital consumption. So we're trying to apparently get ahead of China, Russia, and the rest of them, as well as the consumption. Like, for example, it's my understanding if you ask the internet a question, it requires like a bottle of water to answer that. Would you think that would be, or what are they leaving out? What are they leaving out, Tinfoil?
It just feels like that's the general cover to kind of get people to buy into it. I just kept noticing some of the size of these things are really massive. And in my experience working in a data center, I keep wondering what are they trying to process? And I know the 3 they're going into my count, or in my area, 2 my county, 1 up north in the county north of me. 2 of those are on former military sites. They're now converted into business parks, but they used to be former military during World War II. And then I got to thinking about what Space Force does. They watch over our cybersecurity, make sure we don't deal with any threats. And Trump seems to be comfortable at the moment. He's not really saying anything or panicking about them. So I have a feeling they might be setting us up for, and I'm speculating here, I'm just speculating, but I don't know. It feels like there might be some defense stuff going on in some of those, because it just seems like it's odd. Like if these were true data centers from a foreign threat that would violate national security, then Space Force would have to react and the president would have to react. But we're not seeing them react. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to look and trying to see if I can figure out what's going on inside of those things. But I'm not buying the narrative anymore like they've been pushing about how much of a threat these things are. I mean, just a lot of stuff's not adding up to me with my experience in data centers and stuff.
Yeah, what's weird, Ken? Okay, so I don't know if you remember that movie Oblivion about the aliens coming and taking the water and the whole nine. So I just got to throw it out there because we love to go down these little conspiracy holes. But so with this new disclosure of all the UFOs and aliens, are they here to take our water? Just got to throw it out. Mad Dog, you're up, and then I think we got Nicole, Case Whistle, and Joe.
Yeah, Tinfoil, thank you for the follow back. Truth, I'm going to get out of here. Tinfoil, if the water does go bad, you've always got blood wine. Remember that. Okay. I'll see you all later. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mad Dog. It's great to see you. Thanks for coming up. Go ahead.
Nothing like Klingon blood wine.
Oh, boy. Go. Klingon again. All right. Go ahead, Nicole.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I would just be very hesitant a little bit. Like, yeah, these can be really cool, not gonna lie, but there is a lot to it. There's a lot more to it than people are telling you, people are leading on. Like, I understand people think like, oh, the clouds give us rain and it will fill the ocean back up. That's not as easy as you think it is. Like, it takes a long time for an ocean to fill back up. It takes a long time for a lake to fill back up. It takes a long time for a river to fill back up. It's not as easy as that. Now, if you want to have them do, the weather modification with rain, with cloud seeding, they're just going to flood your ass out, personally. So there's always pros and cons to everything. And if you actually go look at China, and you actually understand the social credit score and how their surveillance by police, state, country, pretty much, they're surveillance by AI 24/7. They're connected to social credit score. They're connected to everything. I don't want to be like China. Okay, I want to avoid those situations. And yes, if Trump is doing this, he's just exposing the 2030 agenda. That's the 2030 agenda. I hate to say it. I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't want to be like China. Okay. Surveillance, AI, 24/7. No, thank you. Jesus is my only savior. I don't need a government controlling my life 24/7. I'll land my plane on that.
That's the truth there, Nicole. You're absolutely right. Christ is king. Go ahead, Case Whistle.
Hey, good morning. I wanted to speak on the data center for a second that Tim had brought up because he had poached my mind this weekend with some thoughts listening to him speak on it over the weekend. So, what if, and it's a big what if, it's just a hypothesis, but what if the data centers are something to do with the Golden Dome? Look into the Golden Dome, see what you find out. Also, I would kind of hypothesize that it might have something to do with the Shields of America that no one's talking about. Remember, Noam kind of graduated to a new job, and the Shields of America, to me, from what I've read, sound like they're narco banking and everything protecting on the Americas, or the Monroe Doctrine Americas. So that's something to think about. As far as Court's point, I see her point, and it's valid. But keep in mind, if surveillance is everywhere and we've lived with it everywhere our whole life, and And it is unfortunate, but it is also used for both good and evil, if you will. Qatar is also surveilled to that attempt, and they don't have a social credit score. So that's something, let's not go into fear immediately, because China is what we're trying to be exact opposite of from Trump's direction, from my read. So just some thoughts.
Oh yeah, no, I mean we're definitely trying to not do that, but all these what do they call them? The flock cameras, all that crap. I mean, we've been surveilled for a long time. NSA, all that crap is. I mean, right now we're being surveilled. These spaces are definitely listened to. Not just this one in particular. I'm saying all spaces. They're trying to figure out what the heck people are talking about. So I mean, we're under surveillance constantly. But yeah, the credit score thing, I think we're very far from that, but hopefully that never takes place. Go ahead, Joe.
I was going to chime in on the China and their credit score and how even the prospect of eating can be impacted by it, which I think is sadistic. And, right now we have a decent leadership and one that doesn't appear to be gung-ho on monitoring everything we do. But that's this leadership. What about the next and the next? What I see as a whole, the big picture view of the power consumption and water consumption is that, to me, it seems like an attack on our infrastructure, in effect. Now, what is it the intended goal? I don't know, but that's what's going to come out of it. And, even the deals that were made that started with a 200-acre data site here, we never knew who it was. And then finally, we knew who was funding it, Door Equity. And then finally, we found out who it was going to be, QTS. And when you look up QTS, there's a whole slew of things that they've been involved in. And it's kind of like people. They don't necessarily change unless something forces a change. Well, what I see here is that they're going to violate laws and have wells installed. All their promises, if you look at their past, those promises have never added up. They promised us $200 million over a period of 20 years. We don't receive one penny for 15 years. As a matter of fact, we've received less in property tax because of it, because they have 100% abatement because of the TIF. So where are they going to be even 10 years from now? Who knows? By then, maybe they'll just be gone, and we'll be left holding the bag with only one advantage in that the property now becomes attractive to real industry that uses real power to produce goods. And right now that would be the only real attraction to allowing them to camp around for a few years. From my perspective, when you look at the big picture of QTS, you know that they're not good for any of the communities they've been involved with. They stole 30 million gallons of water from the reservoirs in one city area because it wasn't metered, which seems to be a convenient mistake until residents caught on. And they only accidentally discovered 40 wells in another area. What I would say is that if they drilled even one major well, the neighbors with wells would likely have to drill deeper. And so these are not people who play good with communities. They start out with lots of promises, lots of lies, and when you get right down to it, it's negligible. The losses are greater than the benefits. So that's why we're pushing against it, going from permitted use, bypassing conditional use, and going right to prohibited use and overturning a council decision that, in their hubris, they made it easier for us because they declared an emergency, which means we don't need 35% of the governor's vote to push back. We only need 10 because an emergency eliminates the possibility of a referendum, which means initiative petition. And all I can say is, once you know who they are, look them up, look at all of their details, and you're going to find out it's a bad deal. I'll drop the mic there.
Yeah, I was just going to mention too, all this surveillance is unconstitutional. We should not be surveillance 24/7, and your government keeping secrets from you, it's kind of crazy. It's crazy how people can sit there and say, oh, it's okay that our government keeps secrets from us. It's part of national security. No, it's not. You're lying. You're lying through your teeth. Everything that you have done to the American people is being exposed, and we're finding out everything. And if you think that them taking land is not a problem, then go explain it to Argentina, because Peter Thiel is a problem to this world and to this country. And he is literally going to these technocrats are going to destroy America and destroy